All right,
Cool.
Coolmore Classic, 1,500 metres. Group 1, fillies and mares.
Cracking race.
Handicap always is. Mate, every big handicap,
Yeah.
Group
around the
1
mile.
big handicap, well, it doesn't matter with 2 miles, mate. Makes no difference. Caulfield Cup, 2,400. They're always good races and they're good betting races.
Someone was writing now, they were talking out at the hut today, someone said it was an average race. Now, was there an article around
Well, there's 6 Group 1 winners here. It's,
I couldn't believe it when I heard it, but anyway.
you know, I've seen better Coolmore Classics, but it's not a bad race. It's a good race.
Streamer, barrier 14, she's 15 out to 17. Huey Bowman in the saddle there. Red Tracer, barrier 1, 11 out to 13. Steps in time, of course, she's drawn it outside. 650 out to 7. Pair Tart, 21 out to 31. Appearance, 13 into 11. Dear Demi, 650 into 6. Norzita, 550 into 5. Zarella, 26 out to 31, back into 26. Star of Giselle, the Melbourne Galloper, 17. Rock Solid, Fontaine, 13 out to 17. Flying Schnitzel, 8 out to 9. Longport's been scratched, of course. She's going around in the Keith Nolan on Sunday. Bonetta, $8 out to $8.50. Risk Aversion, 31. And Rock Solid and Irish Dream is 67 all the way out to 151.
Gee whiz.
That's a big blow.
That's a big blow. All right, good race, plenty of speed. They'll really roll along here with steps in time drawn out, Pair Tart drawn inside, there's a few others there. They'll roll along. I've struggled to really come at one here with any confidence. And in the end, I'm going back to a horse who isn't weighted to win the race. Question mark at 1,500, but I think if ever she's going to get the chance, and there is no more deserving mare of a Group 1 win in the country than Red Tracer.
Yep.
I also think she's a little bit better with a sting out of the track, and she's probably going to get firm track. But look, from barrier 1, she's going to be able to be nursed for as long as possible and get the last crack. And she does have a good turn of foot. At last start, she probably didn't put them away as well as I would have liked, but I'm just wondering whether maybe she's that little bit tougher and a little bit more dour, fractionally more dour now as a 5-year-old mare than what she has been in the past. Possibly. So maybe I'm clutching at straws a bit, but
she wasn't in a real good spot last race either.
She's just a good racehorse. She's just a bloody good racehorse, and I would love to see a mare like this win a Group 1 because she really deserves it. You know, I look through this field and see horses like Appearance Group 1 winner, Pair Tart Group 1 winner, and no knock to them, but they're not as good a mare as this. You know, this mare's done it for season after season now. She's won 10 from 24. She always tries her heart out. She's never far away. She's this big.
Yeah.
And I maybe I'm being a little bit sentimental, but I would really love to see her win a good race. She really deserves it. And
yeah.
I think at $13 each way, you can have something on her each way, and she'll give you a sight.
Okay.
Dear Demi, I think will be hard to beat.
Yeah,
I do think she'll be hard to beat.
Sort of suits her here.
I think Norzita will be hard to beat, and I think the other 3-year-old will be hard to beat. Sorry, mate, I didn't mean to chop you off. Flying Schnitzel, because I do think the 3-year-olds are very good.
Okay. I came to the conclusion that the 3-year-old filly would win the race. I struggled to pick which one. Norzita was a bit disappointing last start. I'm not convinced she was at her best. So I wouldn't be surprised if she improved again and turned the tables on Flying Schnitzel. And of course, she was off the map into $1.65. So if you go off betting, you'd think that she could do. Dear Demi, she gets the pace to suit. I know she can go a little bit flat, 3rd and 4th up like she did last prep, but she does get the pace to suit here, whereas 3rd up last preparation, they walked in the race. So you've got to factor that in as well. And then you get a horse like Bonetta, who was disappointing last start. They sent her out $2 favourite against these horses that set level weights. Here she is meeting him 2 kilos better when I'm talking of, say, the winner, Dear Demi. Meeting it 2 kilos better anyway. Always a Group 1 spruik on her. What do you make of the last start? Do you say she's had enough this prep?
I reckon she has.
Yeah, there's that school of thought.
Because, and the reason I say that, she resumed in December.
Yeah.
Right, and then in January she was up on the Gold Coast. She came back. I know she had 35 days between runs, and then she won the Light Fingers. And then she just wasn't the same horse there the other day. And some will say the race wasn't run to suit and the rest of it, but she wasn't the same horse. Horses ran past her in the straight. So
I've got a, yeah, I think there could be quite a few reasons though.
She's a General Nadoom too.
Yeah, she mightn't get 1400, and I think we spoke about it before that last run. She mightn't have handled Warwick Farm. A lot of horses don't handle the farm. She had a terrible run in transit anyway. They may have just thrown the towel in. She might be a horse that needs a smother. Or she might be at the end of a prep. There's a whole host of reasons. If she's not at the end of the prep, and if she didn't handle Warwick Farm, and she's right, and she's back on a game on Saturday, then given that she was sent out a $2 favourite against horses like Demi last start and gets now another 2 kilos off, she could be the one to beat. If she gets out at $10 or more, I'll be having something on her. I'm not going to go charging into her, but I just think the race will be run to suit. I've got a query over 1,500 metres, and I will admit that. But I think the fillies are the way to go in this race.
I wouldn't discount Flying Schnitzel. They rode it different the other day. She might be a different horse ridden like that. She could come out and beat Norzuta again, and everyone will be going, well, maybe Norzuta didn't go that bad. Maybe this filly's just jumped out of the ground. Yeah,
no, look, it's a tough race, that one.
It is.
But yeah, look, if I can get more than $10 on Bonetta, I'll have something on it.
All right. Celebrations Canterbury Stakes, 1,300 metres. Now a Group 1.
All right, that means I've got to read all the prices out.
I don't reckon this should be a Group 1, you know.
You still don't?
No.
Even with this field?
Mate, it's not about that. They get their chance at Group 1 level next start at weight for age.
Yeah.
That's my opinion, but I just think we're starting to have too many. It's like with these 40-odd races they've upgraded.
Yeah.
I think it's cheapening Group 1 and black type status. I think they should all have no more than 1 or 2 grand finals. These horses are going to run in Group 1s the whole way through their preparation. 1,500 metre weight for age next start. George Ryder or Queen of the Turf. Doncaster, all age. So just...
Yeah. They should have another Group 1 sprint.
Maybe we could have a Group 1 barrier trial.
Well, if they had a handicap, it would give a lot more horses.
Make it set weights penalties. They won't do that for Group 1. No, not set weight penalties anyway. Of course. Anyway.
Happy Trails, 41 out at 51 for Bossy. Rain Affair, the likely leader, rock solid at 15. Moment of Change, 5 into 440. Solzhenitsyn, the Queenslander, rock solid at 51. Fontalina, 101. Aeronautical, geez, didn't he go good in the Newmarket?
Didn't he? What?
Didn't he catch everyone off guard? He's 17 out to 26, out to 31. More Joyce. Sydney's Darling, 260 out to 280. Secret Admirer, 26 out to 31. Midsummer Music, 41 out to 51. And Piero, $2.80 into 260. What are you doing here, buddy?
I'm with the Colt. He's the best horse around, sprinter miler. It's irrelevant, but if he was mine, he would have run Hobartville into this.
Yeah.
Right? I wouldn't have run him Royal Sovereign into this. I wouldn't have run him Hobartville into this. But I would have always targeted this and the George Ryder. I think he'll be positive early. I think he'll roll forward. We had a bit of a discussion today.
Yep.
About riding tactics in the race, and you were concerned he might get trapped 3 wide.
Oh no, I was just interested as to where he will sit in the race, in front or behind More Joyce.
I think he'll be in front of More Joyce in the run.
Okay. I'm thinking he'll be behind.
You know, I'm not saying there's anything underhanded going on here.
No.
But if you're a bloke like Nashra Willa, this is your Doncaster mount. So if he wants to push on, you're not going to be trying to bust him in half here, are you?
No.
Think about it.
How much juice are they going to have to use to push on?
Well, I don't know they'll have to go nuts. More Joyce has tended to race a little bit more off the speed as she's become older.
Yep.
An older mare. I think he'll lead More Joyce. I think the blinker's back on. He's a machine. He's an absolute racehorse. I can see the ears going back. She'll be trying her hard out, but she won't get him. The one thing I'll say here is I don't want to be near Moment of Change. He is a much better Melbourne horse than he is a Sydney horse. I know he's won a couple of races in Sydney, but all of his disappointing runs in his career have come in Sydney. He's had 2 grand finals this preparation already.
Yep.
All right. So there's only so many times you can have grand finals at this level. And we're talking here about, 2 of Sydney's best racehorses on their home dung hill. I want to be on them. Go back last preparation, Moment of Change with 54 kilos was beaten by Tagus and Kentucky Park. All right. I don't want to be on him at weight for age to beat these other two. Thank you.
I think that might have got a run in the layers a couple of weeks ago there as well, the fact that he got beaten by Tagus.
Anyway. Value in the race. Rain and Feral run well, but the value in the race is Solzhenitsyn. No, Solzhenitsyn for me. The value.
I think Piero is a good thing. I think he's a bet of the day. Look, More Joyce's record against fillies and mares is she's basically unbeatable. Whenever she resumes in the autumn where she is unbeatable, or unbeaten I should say, it has always been against the fillies and the mares, I think, except for maybe the 2-year-old race, which might have been against boys, I can't remember. But she's had horses leading her like Montana Flyer and horses like that when she's resumed in the past. This is going to be a very different race for her here. Moment of change, I agree with you. I think he's better down in Melbourne than he is in Sydney. And also he's coming off 2 straight track runs and going back around a bend as well. I don't know if that's going to have a massive impact, but it's got to be taken into account. Piero's a superstar. He proved that first up when he was probably had a bit of improvement left in him, and Rebel Dane came at him, and I don't know if you saw it, but he was going to get beaten with about 50 or 60 metres to go, and he just knuckled down again.
And he's a fighter, mate. I've said it before, I've never seen a horse that is so determined to win like this horse. He's unreal.
He should be unbeaten. He just should be unbeaten. He shouldn't have gone to the Cox Plate after what happened in the Caulfield Guineas, and he shouldn't have lost the Caulfield Guineas. He's a freak of a horse. He'll win this race on Saturday, and he'll go to the George Ryder. He'll win that, and I reckon he'll go to the Doncaster, a short price favourite.
I reckon he'll get beaten in the Doncaster.
Yeah, I don't.
I want to be on this stable, mate, in the Doncaster with the weight pool.
Put it this way, if he wins this race, beats this field, and wins the George Ryder, he'll be 6-4 in the Doncaster.
And the other horse gets a couple of kilos off him. Anyway, that's for weeks in advance.
And look, and if you're going to play some exotics, stand Piero out for first, and have Secret Admirer for second, third, and fourth in your first falls or whatever. Because I think this is a race that's set up really nicely for her. I'm not sure if she'll definitely finish second. I'm not going to say that, but I think she'll finish in the top 4.